Alright, so this video we're gonna show you basic Java GUI, right? So we're gonna talk about how to create the Java GUI using Swing and FX, just comparison in this one. Now, for your exercise, you're going to create an application having two text fields for user to input two numbers with a button to find the total of two numbers, like to find the sum. Okay, and this one you're going to use the Swing to do that. Okay, use JFrame. We're going to extend JFrame. Now JFrame is just like Windows. Like if you compare to JavaFX, JavaFX is just like application, right? And then stage just like JPanel as a stage, right? Like you have different panel. And then text field in Java FX is text field. This is J text field. Like Swing always have starting with J label and J button. So let's create a new Java project. So we're going to create 6.2 project and pretty much just write an application to find the sum. This should be simple. So I'm going to show you maybe the console version, right? Just review, right? And I'm going to show you the GUI version. So console version, you pretty much just do scanner, right? So scanner keyboard equals to new scanner and then system.in. So you need to import, right, scanner. And scanner pretty much is where you read input in, right? So we're gonna say keyboard.next. So if we're dealing with int, so we do next int, right? And int num1 is a variables that you read in and store, right? But you want to prompt the user, right, with the text, say input a number, right? Right, input. Maybe if you want to do two numbers, we can do that too, right? Two numbers separated by comma, right? Or space, okay? So if we do that, so delimited, right? By default it's actually already delimited. Yeah, it's already delimited by, if you do keyboard.next, it's already delimited by space, right? But this one has to be string instead, right? And then if you do num2 keyboard.next, right? If you talk about you want to put them both at the same time, let's just see. But now if I adding as the string, it's going to concatenate, right? Which we should parse it. The total of two numbers is. So if I run this, if I didn't parse, that means convert. It's going to concatenate like 5, 6, right? Then we should have parsed this. So by using integer dot parse int, which you change a string, right, into integer. Right, that's how that's going to add instead of concat, right, concatenating. So let's try again. 5, 6. Alright, so now let's see, it should add by putting parentheses to make it sum, right? Because that can be an integer concatenated to integer 2. 5, 6. Now we get 11, right? So that's how we do with the console. Now we're going to show you how to do with swing. So to do with swing, I'm going to call, okay, swing sum. So first we need to make it extends, right? J frame. And you have to import this. And then this becomes JFrame. Then I'm going to use the, remember in JavaFX you may use application with a start, right? But this one I'm going to use its constructor, right? Because actually main is the main. That's called this one. Like I'm going to create a new swing sum, like that. Like you can instantiate an object, create a new object, right? So this is the one who pretty much going to say, okay, all the coding to show the GUI. Let's say it seems like that's, then you see that cross means deprecated. You see that it started to show the GUI. That's the frame that I'm talking about, right? Deprecated means it's no longer used. Okay. If you don't want to use show as deprecated, it said set visible or make visible to true. So let's look at Java.doc. They have set default close operation. So if you look at JFrame, it's actually coming from frame, which we can use other method from frame too. Like all of the methods, you can use them. Set icon, set shape, set state, set title. And we have, it's also come from Windows. You can pretty much use other method of the Windows too. Set, let's see, we have make it, we can hide it, is active. Set background, set bound, set cursor, set icon, set location. You can control location. Set size, set type, set visible. You see that? So meaning that I can just say set visible to true. Right, so this one is not deprecated. So when I run it, it's going to show the same thing, right? So that's one way. Now we can start to create a panel, just like stage, right? In JavaFX, panel equals to new panel, right? So you just need to import, and then you can start to create text field, right? To add text field, like I'm going to call num1, right? So this is just like if you compare to console, just like num1 like that, right? Or num2 for another text field. And you technically need to import JText field too, right? Because those are classes, right? So I just import. So when you type something, you have the contents in num1 and num2. Now we want to create, we want to add first, right? And create a button too, right? when you hit submit. And label to say enter, like greeting to the user, like our system.out. So JLabel will pretty much just represent this input two numbers, right? Right, separate by space. Which, if you want one text field, you could do the same, right? Separate it by space, or just two text field for each number. Equals to new label, right? And just say enter numbers to find the sum. So it's pretty much just a label. So we have to say J label. So Swing always start with J, like J option pane, right? J frame. Now we need to add a button, so we need to have J button. Right, a button when you hit for find the sum or calculate. New J button. Let's name it like calculate. Okay, that's the name of the button. Import. Alright, so now we need to add them into the panel. So now panel, you need to set layout. If you don't set layout, like if you remember, JavaFX has layout too, right? Like VBox, right? VBox. Otherwise, it's going to be stacked together when you start to add. Like for example, if I add a component now, if I add, like I'm going to add a label. So I'm adding that to the panel. I'm going to add num1, right? Text field, right? Same, I'm going to add num2. I'm keep adding to the panel, like to the stage, like that, right? And add the button. So if I keep adding that, now the panel has to get into the frame. So we have to add to the frame. So we have to find the method that add to the frame, right? So it's the add, because JFrame has the add method. So let's see if I run that and maximize it. See that? Label, text field, and calculate, right? Now we don't want to keep maximizing this. We can just set the size, right? Set size 200 by 200, right? We want to set a size before it's visible. You can set the width of this text field. Then it's not like looking very small, like that. Right. So now we can type in like a number, but we didn't make function to calculate yet. So that's GUI. Now I want to add a function to this, so that means the button itself need to have an action dot set. Remember, just like when we deal with action, is always have to in JavaFX make it so easy by adding lambda, right? Like set action listener. Set action new action listener. We need to import action listener. So this is just like a part that we talked about is replaced with lambda, right, in JavaFX. So let's, in JavaFX, your button, you just say set on action, then e lambda, and whatever you do, just go inside the curly braces, right? But it's actually coming from this whole thing, set action, and then you have to find, we call an interface here, the right one that responds to that button action. So the method is actually dot add action listener and new action listener. And then you have to write the code inside there.